then I'm not going to be part of this. Do you get that now? So you also have the obedient themselves who are saying, okay, we may kind of pretend that we don't know that you guys are, the real criminals that everybody is trying to get rid of, right? But we can ignore that if you can make Obi their presidential candidate. And that's why some of them are already saying it is Obi or nothing. So in the long run, right, you have the PDP, you have ADC, and then you have B, who is just like the constant factor, constantly kind of like appearing in the entire plans for the Thiefnubu and his gang. They wouldn't mind Obi, okay, to become estranged with these guys. Don't join them. They just want to use you, blah, blah, blah. Go alone. And at the same time, they wouldn't mind the PDP to also feud someone, ADC feud someone. Everything ends up in the same way, even if it's going to be like a tiny way of what do you call it, escape. Thiefnubu will take it, and somehow that also makes it more interesting in the sense that for those who have seen clips, especially in northern part of Nigeria, where this ADC thing, right, is actually a thing. When I say that, I mean we have seen videos, we have seen meetings, we have seen, evidence of people already changing from their supposed alliance or allegiance to either PDP or APC, screaming this, their ADC. And that's where they start. So we have seen the APC, Egbekegbe, who have taken the violent actions against this same ADC. I'm talking about, organized violence. And then you begin to say, hmm, the way the whole thing is actually like going, right? So if their ADC talk and coalition should end up kind of like shocking everybody in a way that, when I say shock everybody, I mean they are expected to probably like break apart by middle of next year or early next year rather. Because by then, right, it will be obvious that if Atiku is going to, continue to want to be your presidential candidate, or if Obi is going to join their coalition, or if there's not going to be any court order that would have put this entire thing into disarray. So there's so much that is kind of like a brewing in their name. But Dumebika Chuku, the presidential candidate of their party in 2023, disagrees. Because according to him, these guys are usurpers. They are not ADC. They just want to use their money, their power to push us aside. But we are not being pushed. We are not going to be pushed aside. You may be.
Sean, I will, like I say, anytime Bolaji is speaking, Bolaji is a man on the budget, and he has to defend the budget he's collected from people for the publicity of this their vehicle. They do know that they are on borrowed time. Nigerians as a whole know that the David Mark led faction of ADC, that they are on borrowed time. There are several cases in court. What we saw from the INEC chairman yesterday, Mahmood, was again another irresponsible act from the outgoing chairman of INEC. He's a man who has consistently disobeyed court orders. It's the norm that when you have cases that are in court, that you respect those cases that are in court, and you shouldn't do anything that might affect the outcome of those cases. So knowing that he's a party to several cases in court concerning the ADC, he ought not to have made any pronouncement or taken any action concerning the ADC. But as usual, for an irresponsible person like him, he made a pronouncement. The courts are sitting on our matter with David Mark and co. Next month, and Nigerians will see.
That's Dumebi Kachuku. He is also in court. And of course, Mamudu Yakubu recognized David Mark. This was yesterday. Recognized them as the authentic. So part of the questions that people are curious about, especially those who are like political neophytes, right? Is that the state in which Nigeria is right now, economically, uh, as well as can I use defensively too, because of your defense, like security. Anyway, I just did. Should be concerning to everyone enough that, I mean, for preparing for this their charade or whatever you again, oh, sure you get. Like, is that not enough for everyone to just be like, you know what? They need to save this contraption, oh, to start with. And all this sort of political bickering and the rest of that, here you get like shouldn't even like surface. I don't know how they do it in other African countries. So I've actually seen where, right, oppositions came together. I think you did it in Nigeria too, but just for wrong people, fortunately. Like opposition will come together, bury all their differences, right? In order to be able to pull a weight that will challenge the incumbent. Doesn't mean that they succeed all the time. But I never really get to witness all these kinds of court cases and all that. In the long run, sure you get, it makes the type of politics they play in that contraption pretty much like confusing. Not for me, it's not confusing. We call it a selfish sort of like a politics. It's never about Nigeria, you know. So and it's also kind of like complicated too. You know, the complication part is that you can't deny, the shady characters, right, who are also going to be coming together to say they want to rescue you. That makes it even like it's not complicated. It makes it more disgraceful. Like in a country of over 200 million people, and the only people that could pull or have the resources, right, to topple government, change governments, if they choose to, are the active and semi-active criminals. They are the ones who have the resources. So at the end of the day, it is actually exhausting too. You know, when you want to sit down and be like, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? And then you are like, Baba, you are investing your time in hoping that these ones will do the right thing. What is the right thing to do? Is it that just to get a Thiefnubu off and bring in another set of criminals that in another year or two, everybody is going to be having this bias remorse, and then they want to probably then battle that for maybe another 10 years until maybe they have a chance of getting rid of them. So the cycle continues. And others are like, how about you just invest your energy in advocating for starting with a peaceful renegotiation of this contraption and a peaceful breakup of the contraption entirely. Fortunately, right, majority of us who really, really want that to happen, we possibly don't even have the resources. I remember when I used to, I don't know, maybe because I was just too young to full of imagination, right? So when I arrived at that reality of Nigeria is done for, no matter what you were told about Nigeria when you were younger, now that you are older, there are so many of them that by now you should have found out yourselves that they were just lies, misleading lies. So it's like living a lie or so. So the moment I came to that conclusion, that reality, right? In my head, I was like, why is it so difficult to sell the idea of everybody staying on their own? I found out why though, right? But I used to ask myself, like, why was it so hard? For example, it probably like gives you an opportunity to really start all over again, starting with the type of law, type of government you want to actually to govern you, so to say. Like you can start afresh. What is wrong in that? Like turn it off and start it again. When I say turn it off and start it again, it simply means that the what exists right now will cease to exist. The corrupt institutions that they have built and sustained for decades, they will die. So, and they will remain dead. So to me, I was like, I could set, I think I've shared this idea with somebody like the African Wahala, and maybe Yomi Totu too. They will remember. So I was like, it shouldn't be that hard. Sit down, we map out what are and what are the resources of, for example, Yoruba land. What are the resources of Yoruba land that we can use what we have to get what we want, and then you can just get, if you can find out this, maybe just one or two Yoruba billionaires, okay, and sell them this idea of them funding the advocacy for the independent Yoruba nation. That would be easy, right? In my head, though, but it wasn't because what Nigeria is offering them, as much as the way it is arranged, right? They have to remain sort of like loyal to Nigeria, not to their people, not to their tribe or anybody per se. Talking about the supposed well-to-do Nigerians. Like, why are they clinging on to this contraption? Why are they kind of like pumping their billions into the kind of people that continue to impoverish their people while they also make much money or more money? So I figured that out, and I was like, it is so short-sightedness I mean, it's kind of like a short sightedness for so many of them. The opportunity that abounds, right, when everybody runs their own affairs, right? Because if you take a look at it this way, the reason why Nigeria remains underdeveloped and divided and poor is not because of lack of human resources or natural resources. It is basically a political arrangement. It is unwritten, and until something breaks it, until you break up this contraption, there is no chance for millions of those who claim to be Nigerians, not in this lifetime. It is political to ensure that out of 36 states in Nigeria, with their uniqueness, their different regions, okay? So they politically intentionally ensure that there is a part that will lack everything that other parts won't lack. And they kind of like swab it that way, right? That the whole Nigeria, okay, the only two recognized international airports, Abuja and Lagos, which is the middle belt of Nigeria and the southwest Nigeria. Not that they don't have airport in the east and few other places, but building airport is not the only thing. Okay, there must be the government sort of like you know approval or push. I mean, when they give you license to build the airport, okay, and the real commercial activities, right, comes from the seaports, but you are not allowed to dredge your own water, even if they plan to. You can't do it yourself. So you're not allowed to dredge your water. You're not allowed to develop your own seaport because you can't. You get that now? Politically, it must not be done. It is not that it can't be done. It must not be done. So this kind of shady political arrangement, right? They intentionally deny a part of the country what should have been the true, real development, right? To a vested interest in another part. That is political setup. So there is no way they will sit everybody down and say, come, let us discuss this country and ask everybody, where would they rather want to be, on your own or to continue to be part of this Nigeria? There'll be a lot of them that practically said, no, they would rather be on their own, except if the terms and conditions of this union is renegotiated. But for the first time, is actually set up. And that's what we're saying. So the supposed rich, that's what I found out too. The supposed rich in Nigeria, they have their wealth linked to the criminals in government, past and present. So their loyalty is not to Igbo land, to Yoruba land, to Hausa land, to any land at all. Their loyalty is to those who guarantees their own fair share in the Commonwealth, our Commonwealth. You get that now? So when you see criminal politicians, right, and those who probably are yet to show how criminally minded they are, talk about, rescuing Nigeria in this sense, you wonder and say, well, it looks so complicated. It looks almost like, impossible, right? That Nigeria will get out of any of this with these characters, with these guys. It's almost impossible. It is almost impossible, you know. And that's where I got mine from. No, Nigeria is not escaping this. Something has to happen. Until that happens, right? Everybody will keep going in that circle and they'll keep holding the fake elections. They will tell you anything contrary to that simply means you are declaring war, and they are ready to fight the war. Not an external war, with a war with all of you who are tired of their manipulations and their corruptions, so to say. Well, let's leave that a little bit. A little bit. They've announced, by the way, right, that the 5% they have they not even added that already? Because I remember the time they added this your 5% telecommunication tax. Yeah, if you make calls, if you use data, and you get to pay 5% on on your charges or whatever. And people complained at the time, and they were even planning to. They were telling people that they would have been 10%. Is this actually one of the numerous pickpocket policies of Thiefnubu, by the way. However, some people are saying that maybe because of what is going on in Nepal, right, that Thiefnubu and his gang, they've now announced to suspend that. So MTN, do you call them MTN, Airtel, Glo, and the rest? They probably will now allow they will allow your data to last a bit now. You remember? Few weeks back, I've had people who have openly complained, like bitterly complained, that this is robbery. They've been robbed of their money. That what they usually pay for this data, I don't know how they calculate this 10 gig, this 20 gig used to be so, and it used to last them for so amount of days. But now everything is just like gone, gone, gone because of Thiefnubu. So they don't want to provoke you yet, because na little thing fit spark any form of a protest that could be a big revolution. In France right now, where Thiefnubu is holidaying or vacationing, right? The their cities are witnessing another eruption of protests, asking Macron to go. You know what I mean? So from France, Thiefnubu told them to relax it. It's not that they've removed it, they will relax it for a while until the tension kind of like go down. Sure you get. And they are also contemplating on maybe holding on that 5% fuel tax as well. So, and they are also planning, right, to do their usual sharing of money in the coming days too. So a lot of people are thinking that maybe that is coming because of what is going on in Nepal. Nepal is far. Kenya was close, and people just were not ready. When they are, it doesn't matter.